What is up, you guys? It is your boy John here from Puma Plow. Welcome back to another On the Farm. I should say, John, the voiceover guy here from Puma Plow. Welcome back to another On the Farm. Guys, what you were looking at is a rim off of a mid-90s, I believe it was, Dodge pickup truck. A buddy of ours has these rims. It's actually on his grandpa's truck, and he has asked us to sandblast them up and paint them with some primer, and he will finish them off from there. So that is exactly what this video is going to be about. You can see they were chrome, and they have started to rust, like I said, about a mid-90s. I think he said 96. I really should remember these things, because he watches these videos. Hi. Anyway, they're looking, starting to look pretty sad, so, you know, sandblast them up, clean them up real good, and paint them. Paint them, you know, might as well make them look at least a little bit better. They weren't like, you know, gone, or they're not like unsafe to drive on or anything like that, but they're just starting to look pretty ratty. So it was time. It was time to sandblast these rims up. Here we go, throwing the first one in the cabinet. And they were a little big for the cabinet, honestly, but hey, they did fit. And you guys can see here I'm using the gun that we've been sandblasting with for quite some time. And we're starting to realize that the tip on the gun, it wears quite rapidly, actually, and we just never really knew about it. So this is on a sand pot. It's not the actual gun that came with the cabinet, because the actual gun that comes with the cabinet, now there's nothing wrong with the gun. The problem is it uses the like a siphon suction line, basically, and it picks up the sand from the cabinet and recirculates. The problem is you get like just wicked pulsing. So we're not really a fan of all of the pulsing that you get. So what we actually have going on here is this is a regular sand pot, like you can buy. This one's from Harbor Freight, so I mean it's not high quality or anything, but whatever, it works. And I have it propped up underneath the sand blast cabinet, so when the sand falls down it goes right back into the pot. It actually worked fairly well, but you can see this is a little slow. And you know, I mean, it wasn't terrible, don't get me wrong, it wasn't terrible, but for doing this much sandblasting, we are doing all 4 rims, by the way. You know, it's just a little on the slow side, but that's okay. The other thing that I'm noticing, especially as we get farther into this, you can see there the difference, what we did sandblast and what we did not sandblast. We actually took the rim to the guy and said, hey, is this what you thought it would look like? And he's like, yep. So we kept going on it. This was over many different days, to be honest. And yeah, so, you know, it did clean up fairly well. It really didn't take too long. But there you go. There's one all cleaned up and ready for some primer. We were just going to prime these because anytime you sandblast, realistically, it starts to rust within 24 hours or less. So we wanted to go ahead and sandblast these with our Rust-Oleum primer that we use. Don't care for Rust-Oleum paint, but this primer is actually really good. Yeah, but most other Rust-Oleums I don't really care for. Just kind of a personal thing. But there you can see it's just gray primer. It really doesn't matter what we put on there because, like I said, he was going to paint over it anyway. Okay, so that was the first one. And here you can see, look, you can barely see in the cabinet. Doing all this sandblasting, there's actually a removable plastic film, basically, on the inside of the cabinet to protect the glass that's in there. And yeah, so Dad's in there with some Windex. Like I said, the one thing we are really noticing with the chrome that we're sandblasting off is it is very dusty. very dusty. We are using the same sand for the most part. You know, recycle the sand. The sand is about done. Once we get done with this project, we are going to go ahead and take it out and dump it in the garden or whatever, dispose of the sand, and put new sand in the cabinet, because it will be time. It will be time. And you can see that glass in the cabinet there has a crack in it. Somebody, not me, might have been Dad, I don't know, was leaning on the cabinet a little hard while sandblasting and broke it. So we already have new glass on hand. It has come in now at the farm, and we've got a bunch of these replacement films as well. This is one of the original ones that came with the cabinet. But when you're doing this much sandblasting, you need to replace your, I don't know what you call that, your tear off. It's kind of like a NASCAR, how they have the the tear off on the windshield, you know, when they come in the pits, they tear it off so the driver can see. It's kind of like that. It has basically double stick tape all the way around the outside, and you just stick it to your nice clean glass. The cabinet has glass on the inside, and then there's actually a plexiglass on the outside, so in case your glass would actually break, like ours did, the plexiglass keeps you nice and safe. So there's that. So we will be replacing the glass in the cabinet eventually. We just kind of wanted to get through the project of these rims before we did that. So that is exactly what we're doing. Now, this does not go on perfect, but you know, you're only going to have it on there for, I don't know, maybe an hour of actual blasting, maybe an hour and a half of actual sandblasting, then you're going to take it off and put a new one on anyway. So it really doesn't matter if it goes on exactly perfect or not, because they are a wear item. Just like the tips on the guns, the nozzles, whatever you want to call them, they're wear items, and it's part of sandblasting that they're going to wear out. So here we're back at it with the clean film and a different rim, and you can see all the glares of the lights behind me. When we sandblast, actually, it works so much better. You can see so much better inside the cabinet. If you turn off there, you can just see Dad reached up and turned off the lights. If you turn off a bunch of the lights in the shed, you can actually see a lot better. That is a light that we added inside of that cabinet when we bought it. It had like this crappy little fluorescent light, and that just wasn't cutting it. So we actually went to, that was from Menards. It's, you know, like the old halogen trouble light kind of thing you would have, you know, you'd set it on the ground, it would shine. It's basically the same thing, but it's LED. We didn't want halogen because we didn't want the heat, so we went with the LED, and realistically, I don't think you would notice the heat from a halogen in here because of all the air that moves. We are hooked up to a vacuum, of course, as well. So we decided to upgrade our sandblasting capabilities just a little bit in the middle of this project, and this is a pressurized sand pot, and basically what this allows you to do is sandblast a lot faster. A whole lot faster, because your pot where your sand is actually pressurized. And yes, this is from Harbor Freight. We buy a lot of our kind of stuff from there. I know it's not the highest quality stuff, but you know, it is pretty decent for the money. It really is. And they're actually pretty good about like replacing if you have problems. They're pretty good about that. You can buy extended warranties and stuff. And yeah, I'm not getting paid to say any of this, by the way, about Harbor Freight. We just happen to have one in town, and hey, you know, like I said, it's pretty decent stuff. It's okay. It's okay stuff. According to the manual, we should have had to assemble this thing, in the fact of like putting the handles on and hooking up all the connections and everything. So I'm kind of wondering if somebody had this and maybe started putting it together and didn't like it. Like what Dad is tightening right there was already assembled. According to the instructions, we should have had to assemble all of that, and like I said, it was already assembled. So kind of strange, but no big deal. Here you can see Dad pouring sand in. Comes with the funnel. The only thing is it's a little slow putting sand in because, of course, you have to let it breathe. Not a big deal, but, you know, it's just one of those things. So you fill it up from the top. You open the thing. There's like a cap. You take the cap off, fill it up with sand, and away you go. It's actually pretty cool, and it works a lot better. Works a whole lot better than the other ones. I think we're on another new, oh, here we are. We're putting another new window filter thingy on. Basically, we did 2 rims with the other gun. Yeah, two rims. We had 2 rims at a time, is all. You know, you just get overwhelmed if you had all 4 at once. So the guy was giving us 2 at a time, and that's exactly how I would want to do 4 rims, is 2 at a time. So all good. Here you can see we're fast forwarding a little bit. This is a Wednesday or something. We're on our sandblast cabinet through a dust deputy, I believe it's called, and it separates out the heavy particles so they don't end up in our sandblast cab, or not in our sandblast cabinet, in our vacuum. We run everything through that big vacuum, and I couldn't sandblast without it. So here you go, guys. This is with the new gun, the new nozzle, the new sand pot, whatever you want to call it. And you can see it's a little pulsy right now, but it does kind of calms down a little bit as you get going. Your air pressure levels out and all that good stuff. And yeah, it seems to work fairly well. It's a lot faster. You go through a ton of sand. It's amazing how fast you can actually empty it. Now, we are running it probably a little bit high on our PSI. We're within the range that it says. But if we turned it down, then we wouldn't go through as much sand because you'd have less air going through, therefore less sand. If you see the red flashing, by the way, that's the GoPro on my head reflecting off the glass on the sandblast cabinet. So no big deal there. But you can see sometimes when you're sandblasting, you're kind of just guessing where you need to sandblast because you can't see for crap. It is quite a sandstorm inside of this cabinet, and like I said, that gun works quite well. So guys, we cleaned up, well, eventually we'll do all 4. We're actually not even done with this project, but that's what the first 2, basically, they looked like when they went to the guy, painted up with primer, and good to go. And then he got out the silver paint and painted them silver and put lots of clear coat on. Thank you to that guy for the pictures. He sent me these couple pictures so that you guys could see what they looked like finished. Lots of silver and lots of clear coat to make them shiny. And there they are on the truck. They look quite good. And we will get you the other rims soon, sir. Thank you guys for watching another On the Farm. Do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button for more. Subscribe if you have not already done so. And as always, toodles.